Eli sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his phone with a mixture of excitement and dread. His friend Rena had just sent him a message, bold and challenging as always. "I dare you to ask out Lyra. Right now. Don't chicken out." Eli groaned. He loved a good challenge. But this one felt impossible. Lyra, his neighbor, was brilliant, confident, and effortlessly charming. She had the kind of smile that made the sunlight in the hallway seem dim in comparison. And now Rena wanted him to walk up to her apartment, knock on her door, and ask her out. Just like that, he put his phone down and ran a hand through his hair. "Why do I always let her talk me into these things?" he muttered to himself. Rena's messages pinged continuously, each one filled with teasing emojis and phrases like, "You're never going to forgive yourself if you don't do it." And, "Imagine the story you'll have to tell." Eli sighed and leaned back. Maybe she was right. Maybe this could be the start of something incredible, or at least something memorable. Taking a deep breath, Eli stood and walked to his window. From his small apartment, he could see Lyra's balcony just a few floors above. She was outside, her silhouette framed by the glow of her telescope. He had noticed her watching the stars every night, her fascination with space evident in the way she moved. Careful, yet purposeful. There was something almost magical about her. Eli's heart raced. How do you just walk up to someone like that and ask them out? He thought. He tried to remember all the movies Rena had forced him to watch, the books he had read, even the one time he had rehearsed asking someone out in front of the mirror. Nothing seemed enough. "Just go." Rena's voice echoed in his mind. "It's just a dare, and it's you. You've got this." Eli. With his courage slowly building, Eli grabbed a small notebook from his desk. He opened it and scribbled some notes, trying to prepare himself. Maybe if he had a plan, it wouldn't seem so terrifying. Step 1. Walk to Lyra's apartment. Step 2. Say hello. Step 3. Compliment her on something genuine. Step 4. Ask her out. Simple, right? Too simple. Maybe. Eli stared at the words, hoping they would magically give him confidence. They didn't. He checked his watch. 8:15 p.m. Perfect. Lyra usually spent the early evening at her telescope, mapping stars or observing something far beyond Earth's reach. Eli smoothed his hair, took a deep breath, and stepped into the hallway. The elevator ride was short but felt like an eternity. Every floor, every ding of the metal doors made his heart pound faster. When the doors opened on Lyra's floor, Eli hesitated. Her door was just a few steps away. He could see the faint glow of her apartment, the light bouncing off the walls like tiny stars trapped in glass. He raised his hand to knock, then froze. "What if she says no?" he whispered to himself. Then, louder, in the voice of someone trying to sound brave, "What if she says yes?" Knock, knock, knock. The door swung open, and there she was, Lyra, in her casual evening clothes, her hair tied back loosely, her eyes bright and curious. She looked at him, surprised but smiling. "Eli? What brings you here?" she asked. Tilting her head slightly, he swallowed hard. Hi, Lyra. Rena dared me to, well," his voice trailed off, and he felt his face grow hot. Lyra laughed softly, a sound that was gentle but filled with warmth. "You mean to tell me this is about a dare?" she said, stepping aside to let him in. "Well, I hope you make it a good story." Her words, simple as they were, sent a thrill through him. "A good story," she said. It sounded like a challenge, but also like an invitation. He stepped inside. Her apartment was small but cozy, filled with books, models of spacecraft, and charts of distant galaxies. A telescope pointed toward the balcony, where the stars stretched endlessly across the sky. Eli tried to focus, but his eyes kept wandering back to Lyra. "So, what's the story?" she asked, leaning against the table. Eli cleared his throat. "Well, Rena dared me to ask you out." Lyra's eyes sparkled, and she smiled wider. Is that all? He blinked. Yeah? I mean, yes? He felt clumsy, awkward, and ridiculously nervous. But somehow, that only made the moment feel more real. Lyra tilted her head. You're nervous, she observed. That's actually kind of cute. Eli felt his face burn hotter. I guess I am. I think you're amazing. And I didn't know how else to ask you. Lyra stepped closer, her gaze warm and encouraging. Well, you're doing fine. So, tell me, what would make this a good story? Eli thought for a moment. He didn't want to just ask her out like it was some ordinary date. He wanted it to be memorable, something that would make both of them smile every time they thought about it. I don't know yet, he admitted. Maybe we can figure it out together? Her smile softened, and she nodded. I like that idea. They spent the next few minutes talking about stars, planets, and the weird little coincidences that made life interesting. Eli found himself relaxing, realizing that Lyra wasn't intimidating at all. She was simply brilliant, curious, and kind. And maybe, just maybe, she enjoyed the awkward charm he brought along. As the conversation flowed, something unusual caught Eli's attention. The telescope on her balcony flickered with strange colors, and a soft hum filled the room. Lyra noticed it too, her brow furrowing slightly. Oh, that's just the prototype AI I'm working on, she explained casually. It projects star maps in real time. Sometimes it likes to experiment. Eli's eyes widened. It talks to you? Lyra laughed. Not exactly. It maps patterns, predicts movements, and sometimes surprises me. Don't worry, it won't bite. Eli chuckled nervously, feeling like he had stumbled into a world far beyond his imagination. He had come to ask her out. But now, he was also standing on the edge of discovering something extraordinary. Wow, he said, looking around. This is amazing. Lyra smiled, as if reading his thoughts. The universe is full of surprises. And sometimes, the best stories start with a dare. Eli realized she was right. This simple dare asking out his neighbor had become the first chapter of a story he didn't yet understand but couldn't wait to live. And as he left her apartment that night, his heart still racing, he couldn't help but feel that this was only the beginning. Something told him that the stars above weren't the only things about to light up his life. The next morning, Eli woke up with a strange mix of excitement and nerves. He replayed the previous night over and over in his mind. Lyra's smile, the way she had teased him about the dare, and the small glimpse into her unusual work with her AI star projector. He hadn't just asked his neighbor out, he had stepped into a world that felt bigger than anything he had imagined. He hurried through his morning routine, trying to act normal, but every thought pulled him back to Lyra's apartment. What had that AI really been doing? Why did the star map flicker the way it did? Questions buzzed in his mind like fireflies. By noon, he found himself at Rena's apartment. She was lounging on the sofa, scrolling through her tablet with her usual grin. So? She asked, barely looking up. Did it happen? Did you ask her out? Eli groaned. Yes, I asked her out. And yes, she smiled. And yes, she said something about a story. Happy? Rena laughed. Very. But now the real fun begins. You didn't think she would just say yes, and that would be it, did you? Eli frowned. What do you mean? Just wait. Lyra is different. You might have noticed the telescope, the AI, and the strange glow in her apartment. She's not like anyone you've met. Be prepared for surprises. Lyra. Rhyme. Just wait. Eli tried to digest that. Different how? Just different. You'll see. Rena's eyes sparkled with mischief. Now go. Don't overthink it. Go see her. By evening, Eli found himself standing in front of Lyra's door again. He took a deep breath and knocked. When the door opened, Lyra greeted him with her usual warm smile. "Eli, back so soon?" she asked. "I wasn't expecting company tonight. I thought I'd check in," he said, fumbling slightly. "And maybe see that telescope of yours again." Lyra raised an eyebrow, but didn't seem offended. "Come in, then. I was just about to show something interesting." Eli stepped inside, trying not to stare too much at all the unusual gadgets and charts scattered around. On the balcony, the telescope was already set up, pointing toward a particular patch of stars. Lyra noticed his curiosity. "You like astronomy?" she asked. "I do, but mostly as a hobby. I've read about planets and stars, but I've never actually seen anything like this," she smiled. "Well, tonight you're going to see more than you've ever imagined." Eli followed her to the balcony. The city lights below flickered, but the sky above stretched endlessly, full of stars. Lyra adjusted the telescope and typed a few commands into a small tablet. The hum of the AI returned, soft and melodic, as the star map projected onto a holographic screen above the balcony. Eli's jaw dropped. The stars seemed to move on their own, forming patterns and shapes he had never seen. Some of the constellations looked familiar, but others were completely new. What is this?" he whispered. Lyra leaned back against the railing. "It's part of a project I'm working on. This AI maps stars and predicts movements in ways humans can't. But sometimes, it shows me things I didn't expect." Eli watched as the holographic stars shifted and flickered, almost as if they were alive. "This is incredible," he said. "It's like the stars are talking to you." Lyra laughed softly. "That's one way to put it. They don't talk, exactly, but they do reveal patterns. And sometimes, those patterns lead to discoveries." Eli's mind raced. Discoveries? Patterns? His curiosity was hooked. Can I help?" he asked. Almost without thinking, Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "You want to help?" I mean, if you'll let me. I'm not an astronomer, but I can think, solve problems, figure things out." A slow smile spread across Lyra's face. "All right, Eli. If you want to help, you're going to need to pay attention. This isn't just looking at stars. This AI can detect anomalies, things that might be planets, signals, or even something we don't yet understand. Tonight, we're testing its new feature. Endo." Eli's heart raced. Something we don't yet understand? That sounded exciting and a little scary. He nodded. "I'm ready." Lyra handed him the tablet. "First, watch. Then, when I point out an anomaly, you'll decide the next step." Eli studied the holographic stars. The AI moved with precision, connecting dots, forming lines, and highlighting areas of interest in soft, blue, and green light. It was mesmerizing. "See that cluster?" Lyra asked, pointing. The AI flagged it as unusual. "Could be a new planet, or something else. I want to see if you notice patterns the AI might miss." Eli leaned in, examining the cluster. He squinted, trying to find a rhythm or sequence. Slowly, he noticed small irregularities in the movement of the stars, patterns that looked almost like a code. "Here," he said, pointing. "These stars, they repeat in a certain order, almost like a signal." Lyra's eyes widened. "Interesting. That's exactly the kind of thing the AI didn't catch at first." "Good eye, Eli." He felt a rush of pride. For the first time, he realized that his human perspective, his ability to notice small details and think creatively, was actually valuable. "Now," Lyra said, "let's see what it means." She typed a few commands, and the AI analyzed the pattern. The stars on the holographic map shifted, revealing a faint path leading toward a distant cluster. "It's pointing somewhere," Eli whispered. Lyra nodded. Yes, something is unusual there. I don't know what yet, but it's probably beyond our solar system. This could be the first time humanity detects an anomaly like this. Eli felt a thrill unlike anything he had experienced. He had come over to ask her out, expecting a simple conversation. And now he was part of something extraordinary. Do you think it's dangerous? He asked cautiously. Lyra shook her head. No, but it's unknown. And the unknown is where humans shine. Eli smiled. He realized she was right. Humanity had always been about exploring, discovering, and solving puzzles. And now he was part of that story. He hesitated. Can I help you investigate further? Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. Then she smiled. Yes, but it won't be easy. We'll need to think carefully, test ideas, and maybe take some risks. Are you ready for that? Eli nodded. Yes, I'm ready. They spent the next few hours analyzing the holographic star map. Eli learned quickly, following Lyra's instructions and noticing patterns that the AI overlooked. He was surprised at how much he enjoyed it. Every anomaly, every flicker of the stars, felt like a small puzzle waiting to be solved. As the night deepened, Eli and Lyra sat side by side, discussing what they saw. Sometimes they laughed at minor mistakes. Sometimes they paused in awe at strange star patterns. Every moment felt new, exciting, and full of possibility. Finally, Lyra leaned back, looking at the city below. You did well tonight, Eli. You have a good eye for patterns, and more importantly, you have curiosity. That's what really matters. Eli felt a warmth in his chest. Thanks. I'm learning a lot from you. This is incredible. Lyra smiled at him, her eyes reflecting the holographic stars. It is, isn't it? And this is just the beginning. Eli realized she wasn't just talking about the stars. She meant their adventure together. He felt excitement, nervousness, and hope all at once. As he left her apartment that night, he looked up at the sky. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if they were cheering him on. He couldn't wait to return, to learn more, and to be part of the unknown. Something told him that life with Lyra wouldn't just be interesting, it would be extraordinary. And he had a feeling this story, the one Rena dared him to start, was going to be one he would never forget. Eli could hardly sleep that night. His mind was buzzing with thoughts of Lyra, the AI, and the strange star pattern they had noticed. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the holographic map with its shifting lights and mysterious cluster far beyond the solar system. He felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was bigger than any dare or date he had imagined. The next morning, he couldn't wait. He texted Lyra, "Ready for tonight?" Almost immediately, a reply appeared. "Always. Be here at 8. By the evening, Eli found himself at her door again. Lyra greeted him with her usual calm confidence, holding 2 cups of tea. "Thought you might need this," she said, handing him one. "Thanks," Eli said, feeling a warmth spread through him. "I can't stop thinking about last night. That anomaly. The pattern. It's amazing." Lyra smiled. "It is. And tonight, we're going to take it further. I've made some adjustments to the AI. We should be able to trace the signal more clearly, and maybe even predict its origin." Eli followed her to the balcony. The city lights below twinkled, but Eli barely noticed. His eyes were fixed on the stars. The holographic star map projected above the balcony, shimmering and alive. Lyra typed some commands, and the AI's hum filled the air. Lines connected stars, forming a path that led to the mysterious cluster. A faint light pulsed at the center, as if calling to them. "Do you see it?" Lyra asked. Eli nodded. "Yes. It's glowing differently from the other stars." "That's the anomaly," Lyra said. "We'll try to understand it tonight. Watch closely. This is what real discovery feels like. Eli's heart raced. He had never been part of anything like this. Every moment felt electric, as if the universe itself was waiting for them to act. Lyra showed him how the AI could analyze the light patterns and calculate their distance and trajectory. Eli followed, learning quickly. He noticed something subtle, a repeated flicker in the pattern that the AI initially ignored. "Wait," he said. "Look at this. The light. It repeats in a rhythm. Not random, like the AI thinks." Lyra leaned over, her eyes scanning the holographic display. "You're right," she said. "Interesting. The AI isn't programmed to notice such small variations. Your observation could be important." Eli felt a surge of pride. For the first time, he realized something that human intuition could accomplish, that the AI could not. The thrill of discovery filled him with energy. Together, they adjusted the AI's settings, allowing it to analyze the pattern more carefully. Slowly, the light's rhythm revealed a message simple but clear. A series of pulses forming a sequence, almost like numbers or coordinates. "Coordinates?" Eli asked, astonished. Lyra nodded. "It looks like it. Possibly a planet, or something else. At the end of this path, if this is correct, we could be the first humans to detect it directly." Eli's mind raced. The thought of being part of a discovery beyond Earth was overwhelming. He tried to steady his breathing. Do you think it's safe to investigate?" Lyra smiled. "Safe enough. But it's unknown. And the unknown is where humans shine. You, Eli, are already proving that." The night stretched on as they traced the signal, calculated distances, and discussed possibilities. Eli realized how much he was learning, not just about astronomy, but about thinking creatively, trusting his instincts, and embracing the unknown. Finally, after hours of careful observation, the AI projected a three-dimensional map. A small, faint point of light appeared, separate from the surrounding stars. "That's it," Lyra said softly. "That's the source of the signal. We've found it." Eli's jaw dropped. He stared at the tiny point of light, realizing that it represented something humanity had never seen before. We discovered something," he whispered. Lyra nodded. "Yes, and it's only the beginning. There's so much more to learn." Eli felt a rush of excitement. He thought about Rena and the dare that had led him here. What had started as a simple challenge to ask someone out had turned into a first step toward a real adventure in the stars. Lyra noticed his awe. "Eli, you have to know something," she said. "Humanity has always been about exploring, discovering, and thinking beyond what's possible. This is our chance to contribute, to shine in a way only humans can." Eli nodded, feeling a sense of pride and responsibility. I want to help. I want to be part of this." Lyra smiled. "Then you already are. And tonight, we'll take the first step toward understanding what's out there." They continued to study the signal, comparing it to known patterns, testing hypotheses, and making notes. Eli found himself immersed in a world he had only dreamed of, a world where curiosity and courage mattered more than fear. Hours passed, and the city below grew quiet. Eli and Lyra worked side by side, occasionally exchanging smiles, jokes, and ideas. The bond between them grew stronger, fueled by shared excitement and the thrill of discovery. At one point, Eli leaned back and gazed at the holographic stars. "Lyra, do you ever think about what's out there? Beyond the planets we know? Beyond the stars we see?" Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. "All the time. The universe is vast, and there's so much we don't understand. But that's the beauty of it. Every unknown is an opportunity, and sometimes you find more than you expect: new worlds, new ideas, even new friends." Eli smiled. I'm glad I found you. And this discovery. It feels like we're part of something bigger." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "We are. And this is only the beginning." Imagine what we could uncover if we keep looking, learning, and thinking creatively. Humanity has always faced challenges, but it has always found solutions. And tonight, you proved that too. Eli felt a sense of wonder he had never experienced before. The universe was vast, unknown, and mysterious, but he wasn't afraid. With Lyra and the AI by his side, he felt capable of anything. Finally, the first hints of dawn appeared on the horizon. Eli and Lyra leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. The holographic stars slowly dimmed, but the excitement of the discovery remained. Lyra looked at him and smiled. "You did well tonight, Eli. This is the start of a story we'll never forget." Eli returned her smile, feeling warmth spread through him. I can't wait for the next part." Lyra laughed softly. "Neither can I. But for now, rest. Tomorrow, we plan our next steps. There's a lot to explore, and we'll need all our energy." As Eli left her apartment, he looked up at the sky, now tinged with morning light. The stars were still there, faint but shining, reminding him of the infinite possibilities ahead. He couldn't stop thinking about the signal, the anomaly, and the adventure that awaited. Something had shifted within him. The dare, the smile, the AI, and the first discovery had changed everything. Eli knew that his life was no longer ordinary. He was part of a story far bigger than himself, a story that stretched across the stars. And for the first time, he felt not only excited but ready. Ready to embrace the unknown, to think creatively, and to shine just like Lyra had said humans could. As he walked home, he couldn't help but grin. The universe was vast, full of mysteries and wonders, and Eli was determined to explore every one of them. The next evening, Eli arrived at Lyra's apartment with a sense of anticipation he had never felt before. The previous night's discovery had left him buzzing with curiosity. That small point of light, the anomaly, had become the center of their attention, a puzzle that humanity might be the first to solve. And now, tonight, they were going to dive even deeper. Lyra greeted him at the door, holding a small stack of tablets and notebooks. "Ready for tonight's work?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Absolutely," Eli said, trying to sound confident, though his heart raced. "I've been thinking about the signal all day. Maybe it's not just coordinates. Maybe it's a map or instructions?" Lyra smiled. "Good thinking. The anomaly is unusual. It could be a planet, a star system, or something else entirely. And you're right, we need to consider all possibilities. Humans notice patterns that machines sometimes miss." Eli followed her to the balcony. The city below glimmered in evening light, but his attention was fixed on the stars above. The holographic star map flickered into life as Lyra activated the AI, humming softly as it adjusted to their commands. "Tonight," Lyra explained, "we're going to decode the pattern in more detail. The AI gave us the basic coordinates, but the rhythm of the signal, it might be a puzzle, something to understand before we can reach it." Eli leaned in, studying the pattern. The flickering light repeated in sequences, pulsing in a rhythm that almost felt like a heartbeat. He remembered what Lyra had said. Humans excel at seeing patterns, and something about this one felt familiar, like a simple code hidden inside complexity. "Look at this section," he said, pointing. "The pulses aren't random. They repeat every 7 intervals, then change slightly." Lyra's eyes lit up. "Exactly. That's what I suspected. The AI didn't notice this nuance. But you did, Eli. Your intuition is working." They spent hours analyzing the signal. Eli suggested testing different interpretations of the pulses, numbers, sequences, even visual patterns. Lyra guided him, showing how to convert the light pulses into coordinates, then into a potential map. Slowly, a path emerged. The signal formed a small, intricate map of a star cluster, highlighting possible planets along the route. Eli's excitement grew with every new detail. They weren't just observing a pattern, they were uncovering a system that no human had explored before. "This is incredible," Eli whispered. We're We're making sense of something no one else has seen. Lyra nodded, her eyes bright. And the best part? We're doing it together. Humanity is capable of things machines alone cannot. Observation, intuition, creativity. That's what sets us apart. Eli felt a surge of pride. He had started this journey because of a dare. But now he realized the dare had been the first step into something far bigger. He was learning, contributing, and discovering alongside Lyra. After several more hours, they reached a breakthrough. By interpreting the pulses as a combination of time intervals and spatial coordinates, they identified a probable location for the source of the signal. The AI confirmed their calculations, projecting a distant point of light on the holographic map, a star system far beyond their own. Is this it? Eli asked, awe in his voice. Lyra nodded. This could be the system sending the signal, or something near it. We don't know exactly yet, but we're closer than anyone else has ever been. Eli's mind spun with possibilities. Could this signal come from another civilization? Was it natural or intentional? He glanced at Lyra. She didn't seem afraid. Instead, she looked curious, calm, and determined. Lyra, he said, this could change everything. We might be the first humans to notice this pattern and understand it. She smiled softly. That's why I wanted you here. Humanity's strength is curiosity and courage. You're part of this because you dared to step in, to notice what the AI didn't. That's the story, our story. Eli felt a thrill at her words. They weren't just decoding a cosmic signal, they were proving the unique value of human thought, creativity, and persistence. As the night deepened, the AI began projecting additional details. Eli noticed that some pulses repeated in a more complex sequence. He suggested that they might indicate planets with unusual orbits or unique properties. Lyra adjusted the AI to follow his suggestion, and slowly, they uncovered a pattern. A group of planets in a delicate formation, orbiting a bright star. Look at this, Eli said. The AI didn't show this before, but the rhythm, it led us here. Lyra nodded in admiration. Yes, this is exactly what I hoped for. You see beyond what machines can calculate. Humans can infer, imagine, and connect dots in ways AI can't. Hours passed. Eli and Lyra worked tirelessly, analyzing, testing, and discussing each discovery. Their collaboration felt natural, like two minds fitting together perfectly. Eli realized that the excitement wasn't just about the discovery, it was about sharing it with someone who understood, who encouraged him to think and explore. Finally, they reached a point where the signal's complexity became manageable. They could predict the positions of the planets, and the AI began simulating what conditions might be like on each one. Eli's heart raced as he watched the projections. Lush planets, rocky worlds, glowing gas giants, some resembling familiar planets, others unlike anything in textbooks. Eli, Lyra said softly, humanity could learn so much from this system. Even if we never visit it physically, understanding it from here is a leap forward. And tonight, you helped make that leap. Eli felt a warmth spread through him. This was more than a dare, more than a date, this was history in the making. I can't believe I'm part of this, he admitted. Lyra smiled, her gaze warm. Believe it, you are. And there's more to come. This is just the first step. Eli glanced at her. And for a moment, the excitement of discovery blended with a personal connection. They had shared hours of wonder, of problem-solving, of triumphing over uncertainty. He realized that the thrill of discovery was even better when shared with someone who inspired him. Lyra, he said, thank you for letting me be part of this. And for everything else. She looked at him, her smile gentle. You were brave enough to ask, curious enough to notice, and willing to step in. That's what matters. The stars are vast, Eli, but they aren't as infinite as human potential. He laughed softly, feeling lighter, freer. I think I'm beginning to understand that. They spent the rest of the night fine-tuning their analysis, cataloging anomalies, and projecting possibilities. The city below slept, unaware that two humans were decoding secrets that might one day change the way humanity understood the universe. Finally, as dawn approached, Lyra deactivated the AI. The balcony returned to quiet, the stars dimming in the growing light. Eli felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. You did well tonight, Lyra said, her eyes reflecting the first rays of morning. We've solved the first part of the puzzle, but there's more ahead. The universe is patient, and so must we be. Eli nodded, feeling the weight and thrill of responsibility. I'm ready for whatever comes next. And I'm glad I'm doing it with you. Lyra smiled, her expression softening. I'm glad too, Eli. Humans are capable of incredible things when we work together. That's the story we're creating: curiosity, courage, and discovery. And tonight, you proved it. As Eli left her apartment, he looked up at the sky. The stars twinkled faintly in the morning light, and he felt a deep sense of wonder. Humanity's place in the universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges, but for the first time, he felt truly ready. The dare that had started this adventure now seemed like a small step in a journey that could span galaxies. Eli knew that the cosmic puzzle they had begun to solve was only the beginning, and he couldn't wait to continue. And for the first time, he realized that some stories, like the universe itself, were too big to imagine alone. They needed courage, curiosity, and someone to share them with. Eli smiled, stepping out into the morning air. The universe awaited, and he was ready to face it. One discovery at a time. Eli couldn't sleep. The last few nights had been a whirlwind of discovery, mystery, and wonder. The anomaly they had traced, the distant star system pulsing with rhythmic light, was no longer just a point in space. It had become a challenge, a puzzle. And now, possibly, a doorway to understanding something truly extraordinary. As he walked toward Lyra's apartment that evening, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Their partnership had grown stronger with every step of the journey. Not only had they decoded patterns and mapped distant stars, but they had discovered that human intuition and curiosity were often more powerful than even the most advanced AI. Lyra greeted him at the door with a calm smile, holding a tablet and a small notebook. Ready for tonight's final analysis? She asked. I am, Eli replied, his voice steady but full of anticipation. I can't wait to see where this ends. She led him to the balcony. The city below was quiet, but above, the stars stretched endlessly. The AI's holographic projection flickered to life, displaying the familiar cluster of stars and the faint light of the anomaly. Eli's heart raced as he looked at the intricate patterns, the pulses that had fascinated them for days. Tonight, Lyra said, we try to understand the message completely. The AI has helped us trace the coordinates and detect the rhythm. But there's one final step. We need to interpret the signal fully. Only then will we know what it means and what we've discovered. Eli nodded, leaning in. I've been thinking. The rhythm repeats, but it changes slightly each cycle. It's like a sequence of instructions. Lyra's eyes lit up. Exactly. Humans can notice nuance. That's why I brought you here. Machines alone can't see the patterns the way our minds can. For hours, they worked side by side. Eli suggested interpretations, sometimes as sequences of numbers, sometimes as spatial arrangements. And Lyra guided him through adjustments to the AI. Every time they corrected a calculation or noticed a subtle change in the pulses, the projection shifted slightly, revealing new details. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. The anomaly was not just a star or planet. It was a system with its own set of rules, almost as if it had been designed. Some planets had predictable orbits, while others moved in patterns that suggested careful planning. Eli and Lyra exchanged excited glances. This wasn't random, it was intentional. Look, Eli said, pointing. The pulses aren't just coordinates. They indicate timing, sequence, even rotation. Someone or something planned this, or left a message for anyone who could decipher it. Lyra nodded. It's remarkable. The universe is vast. But this signal, it feels like it was meant to be discovered. And we are the ones who discovered it first. Eli felt a thrill unlike anything before. Humanity, small and fragile compared to the cosmos, had reached across the stars and understood something no one else had. And he, a person who had started this adventure because of a dare, was at the center of it. Hours passed. They refined the sequence, tested hypotheses, and adjusted the AI. Eli suggested subtle changes, using intuition and logic together. And Lyra followed. They laughed when the AI misinterpreted a pattern, and cheered when a correction revealed a clearer structure. Finally, after a long night of careful work, the pattern revealed its purpose. The pulses indicated the presence of a habitable planet in the distant system, one that matched all known conditions for sustaining life. But there was more. The message included a sequence resembling coordinates for navigation, possibly intended as a guide for explorers. Eli's eyes widened. Lyra, we did it. We figured it out. Lyra smiled, pride and excitement in her eyes. Yes, Eli. Humanity can now know about a world no one else has ever seen. Your observations, your intuition, they made this possible. Humans shine because we notice what machines can't. Eli felt a deep sense of awe. This was more than a discovery. It was proof that curiosity, courage, and creativity could overcome the vast unknown. And in that moment, he understood the truth behind what Lyra had said weeks ago. Humans were capable of extraordinary things when they dared to act. They sat together, watching the holographic map. The distant star system shimmered faintly, like a beacon of possibility. Eli couldn't help but smile. I started this because of a dare, and now we're the first humans to understand this system. Lyra laughed softly. Sometimes, the smallest actions lead to the biggest discoveries. You asked me out, you noticed the subtle patterns, and you stayed curious. That's how humans make a difference. Eli's heart swelled with pride. The journey had started with something as simple as a dare, but it had turned into an adventure that stretched across the stars. And through it all, he had learned something important, not just about the universe, but about himself. As dawn began to touch the city, Lyra deactivated the AI, leaving the balcony quiet. The stars faded in the morning light, but the excitement and wonder remained. You know, Lyra said, turning to him, this is only the beginning. We've discovered the planet and the path to it. But there's so much more to learn. Humanity has the potential to reach even further. Eli nodded. I want to be part of that. I want to keep exploring, learning, discovering. Lyra smiled warmly. And you will. But for now, remember this moment. This is the night humanity proved it could shine, even in the vast darkness of space. Eli looked at her, feeling a connection that went beyond discovery. They had shared an incredible journey, and through it, a bond had formed, built on trust, collaboration, and mutual admiration. Lyra, thank you for letting me be part of this, and for being part of this story. She smiled softly. You were always part of it, Eli. All you had to do was notice. And now, look where we are. They lingered on the balcony, watching the sky brighten with the new day. Eli felt a sense of wonder and possibility that he had never known. The universe was vast, filled with mysteries, but humanity's courage, creativity, and determination could reach across the stars. As he walked home, Eli couldn't stop thinking about what they had accomplished. A simple dare had led him to ask someone out. That action had led to discovery, and that discovery had shown him the value of human ingenuity, curiosity, and courage. He looked up at the sky, imagining the distant star system and the planets waiting to be explored. Humanity had taken its first step into understanding something extraordinary, and he had been part of it. He felt proud not just of himself, but of what humans could achieve when they dared to act. The story Rena had joked about, the dare, the smile, the beginning of something memorable, had become something much bigger. It was a story of curiosity, courage, discovery, and the human spirit. And Eli knew that there were still more chapters to come, filled with new adventures, new discoveries, and new ways for humans to shine. For the first time, Eli understood that life itself was a story humans wrote with every choice, every act of courage, and every spark of curiosity. And as he walked, he felt certain that this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven it could reach the stars, and he was ready to explore them, one discovery at a time. The dare had led to a smile. The smile had led to curiosity. And curiosity had led to humanity shining among the stars. Eli smiled to himself, looking up at the sky. The universe was vast and full of mystery. But he knew one thing. Humans, with their courage and creativity, could meet any challenge, and together, they would continue to shine.